Good evening. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. It's Wednesday night, and it is our night to talk DJ industry. And I have got a good friend of mine from the Mobile Beat world, Michael Buonaccorso, here from Mobile Beat. Mike, good evening.
Hey, John. How are you tonight?
I am doing well. I'm really excited to be talking to not only a friend of mine, but really one of the legends in the DJ industry.
Okay.
Did that make you feel old? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Legend sounds good.
It sounds good, but now after I said it, I'm thinking it makes us both actually sound really old. That we've been around that long, and we're going to go off from the age topic right now because we're going to both feel bad. So, Mike, we've got something really big coming up next year in February that a lot of us in the industry are really excited about. You'll be doing a really unique Mobile Beat Las Vegas DJ experience. Now, this isn't the first show. You've done quite a few out there in Las Vegas. How many have you done out there?
Well, John, 2015 will be the 19th Las Vegas show.
So you have been out there and have been creating a unique experience for DJs for longer than some of the guys watching this have been around.
I hope not. That's only 18 years. I don't know how old your audience is.
Some of them are young, yes. And for those teenagers out there, 18 shows. We're going to be doing 19 next year. Well, that means then, if 19 is next year, have you guys been kind of looking ahead even beyond that when you get to 20?
Absolutely. This is actually part of a 2-year Lollapalooza of some sort, whereas actually we're going to be working our way from 19 into 20, which is not only the 20th Las Vegas show, it's also the 25th year of publication for Mobile Beat magazine. So it's going to be a double event in 2016, but that's down the road. I'm really excited about 2015.
Yeah, for sure, because it's happening in all the ads and a lot of the information talks about game changing. Now, for those who haven't been following, what's this game changing thing that's going to be happening with the show?
I decided after 18 years that rather than go down my little checklist and say, okay, fill in this, we'll do this, I said, you know what? Throw the playbook away and let's start with something new. A couple of the reasons that this is based on is the fact of the matter is that I have noticed, and I think everybody is aware, that people's attention span is a lot shorter these days. And as a result of that, if you give them too much, it almost doesn't really give them as much as you might think you're giving them, because then their mind tends to wander. They needed to focus on something, and I said, well, you know what? I said, how about if we change this show right down to the very basic beginnings of it and come up with something that's going to hold attention, be exciting, and just make people want to be there. Mm-hmm. Now, the best correlation I can say to this is because you would say, well, isn't that the opposite of what you were just saying about attention span? Well, look at it this way. How many times do the people every Sunday, this being the NFL season, go to a football game and sit there from the beginning till the end, totally excited, with the exception of possibly going out for a bite to eat or a bathroom break, for that 3 to 4 hour period, and they just are there and they are entertained, they are informed, and it's just from the moment people are going to walk into these seminars, they are going to see something they've never seen before. This is more than a seminar. This is more than let's put it this way. I look back to what we've been doing for the last 18 years. So I'd stumble up on the stage of day one, and it's like, hi, everybody. I'm Mike Buonaccorso. The first one up here can tell me the author of the name of my book. I'll give you a copy.
Slide that a little bit. Mike, show that a little bit. Right, there you go, right in the middle. That's it. Okay, so go ahead, continue the story.
But that was about the extent of the excitement. I mean, it was like, come on, that guy again? It's like, but the fact of the matter is we have done it completely different. You will walk into this thing, you will be excited. We've got Bill Herman and Jason Jones there strictly to MC and host a 4-hour event every day. You will walk in there with the excitement of a NFL game. You will be dazzled by an environment that you've never seen in a seminar room. and it will be nonstop excitement. You're not going to care about, gee, I wish there's another choice or there's another seminar in the next room. You won't want to leave that room, John. That's what we're looking for. And this is an all-new experience.
Wow, nice! I'm excited. This is kind of cool because we've been talking a little bit behind the scenes, and Bill and Jason are good friends of mine, so I get to hear a little bit. It's like, woo, this is going to be kind of cool. Looking forward to it.
Picture, combining attention span and the entertainment factor of Las Vegas. You will not only see entertainment in front of you, but it will be educational entertainment. It will be different.
Let's take a look now, because one of the things that we both have talked about at different times is for the little tips for people to get the most out of the show. Let's kind of walk through. Now, if I were someone new coming to a show, or even someone who's been there but maybe we'll say not doing it right, let's kind of walk through what a suggested course will be for the show, because it is different with not having multiple things going on at the same time. So let's kind of walk through how we would suggest or recommend to someone new to get the most out of the show.
The first thing I'll mention is for the regulars, there's two things to be aware of. The date. The dates are no longer encompassing Super Bowl Sunday. That was kind of a staple as part of the event for the last 2 or 3 years, and it had its pros and cons, but in a lot of ways, a certain part of it was made our job harder to work with the hotel, who had events scheduled for the Sunday, and we had to wait for a lot of things. But for starters, it's like we hit the ground running on Monday. Monday was formerly a day when it was kind of like, well, I don't want to offend anybody that ever spoke on a Monday, but it was kind of like the AAA farm team that was basically opening up the show for the major leagues, which started Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah.
Now, essentially, it was when I first did that, the thing was, it's like, well, we'll put you on these Monday slots while people are waiting in line or just getting in. They'll have something to do, but it's really not part of the show. Well, we canned all that for next year. The event opens up Monday afternoon, February 23rd at 1 p.m. and runs till 5 p.m. For the subsequent days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they will be running from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's that 4-hour block of nonstop entertainment and education. Let me put education first, and then in an entertaining fashion, so to speak.
Sure.
So that will go on for 3 days. So there's 4 blocks of 4 hours. Then after that, the exhibits will be open. After that, there'll be some evening events, some of which have been announced. Some are still on their way to be announced. We wrap up Thursday at around 2 o'clock. Everything ends around 2. So if somebody ideally was from the East Coast, ideally would come in Sunday. That would be the best thing. We'll probably be opening registration on Sunday, which we've never done before, but I got a feeling it's going to be necessary. Thursday, wrap it up around 2, depending on where you're going back to. You may be able to get out of there, but a lot of times people have gotten into a habit of like cutting off the end of the show and leaving early, but I don't think nothing is meant to be weak. There's no weak spots here, so it's like Thursday is not one either. So you're going to probably want to stay right till the end, 2 o'clock, and hopefully get the most for your buck.
Yeah. Looking at your speaker lineup now, you've got some names that I've heard from around the industry, but you've got some names that we haven't heard in the DJ industry before.
Exactly. Probably the number one on that list is half of the Penn and Teller team of Mr. Penn Jillette himself will be joining us. Obviously, he's just to have him there is pretty exciting. And a few people have said, well, what does he have to do? Was he ever a DJ? I don't really think it needs a whole lot of explanation to say, listen, he's an entertainer. We're entertainers. He essentially was a magician, but so is the guy working birthday parties for $200 and struggling with that. There has to be a common link with all of us that says, dude, you're the best at your game, man. It's like, tell us how you did it. Give us some helpful hints, and just, he's an incredible speaker. He makes up for Teller big time. He doesn't shut up. And so there certainly won't be enough, a shortage of conversation with Penn. We're really looking forward to that.
As am I. Yeah, that looks like that should be a great session.
And that's going to be on Wednesday.
there's some other names that I mean, you've got Minnesota's own Carr Hagerman coming down for the show.
Yeah, Carr's spoken for you a few times, and I've heard a lot of good things about him. We're looking forward to Carr coming to the show for the first time, to the Mobile Beat show. We have our favorite Brian Dodge will be back. He's always well received. You've had Brian too, I think, back. That's where I originally think I heard Brian. Another unusual name that we have, well, it's not unusual, it's unusual to us, but is Gary Shapiro, who was actually the show producer of the Consumer Electronics Show, which just blows my mind to think that he has the time to come to talk to our show after just finishing up a show that has, oh gosh, I lost track of the number of exhibitors they have there, 7,000, the largest trade show in the world, and it's all consumer electronic based, and he's going to be focusing his comments mostly on what has the latest technology in audio that would be definitely of interest to our group.
Now, Mike, another name I saw on the speaker list is the one and only Mark Farrell. He hasn't been at an event for a few years now.
Yeah, Mark will be with us. He hasn't been at the Mobile Beat show since I believe the last one was 3 years ago. I'm excited to have Mark back with us. He was a big part of the growth of the show back in the early, well, I don't know what you call them, the late 1990s, early 00s.
When was the first time Mark was at Mobile Beat?
I believe it was 98, and that was as part of a panel discussion. I'm not sure if he came back the next year, or I believe it was 2000 when he returned. And it was a transition. I mean, the entire thing, everything that we see today, it's been a while since seeing a panel, at least at a Mobile Beat show. Yeah. That was standard fare up until that point. You would get 3 or 4 guys on a topic, and they would go up there and run out the clock for an hour.
That's pretty much what it was. So Mark came then in about 2000. He was on stage, and that was actually one that I remember. For those who weren't there, can you describe the room, the feeling in the room when he finished his presentation? Because it was. Go ahead.
It was remarkable. I had walked in there for a while, and it was a standing room only. I had actually given Mark 3 seminars that year, and this was the first one. I just felt like, we'll do this. Well, he asked me to do 3, and it was like 3 seminars. It's like, okay, well, sure, okay, we'll do it. It's like, I guess I got 3 slots filled. So, and I was kind of looking at it from a different perspective too. And once I walked in there, and I realized that for the first time, we had a guy that was well-spoken and hitting on some points that were never quite discussed before in a way that was never quite discussed before and presented that way was quite remarkable, because it was all relatively common sense. But it was common sense that when he held a mirror up to that audience, they suddenly said, you know what? I see myself in there. Afterwards, everybody was just, ecstatic and wanting to talk to him. And I realized that it was like, Mike, it's like, we got to step up the game here. No more panels, no more running out the clock. People want information that, is relevant and timely and educational, and it really helped everything. Not only did it help the individual DJs, it helped the quality and nature of trade shows, and people were now held accountable for what they were going to go up there and say, which I have to admit, and I had 2 or 3 years there where I have to admit, I was probably just filling slots because I didn't know any better. I thought what I was doing was the right thing, but I realized at that point, no, we're going to change this from this point forward. And I think all those people today that you see out there speaking individually, it evolved from that. They had no choice. I mean, they really had to develop something that gave them the credibility to actually go out there and present, write a book, do a DVD. But the first one was really Mark. It was a good thing, and I think it really turned things around. Matter of fact, some people, and he's always had his detractors. I remember the first group of detractors surfaced right that day at that show because they actually said that Mobile Beat had hired a actor to play a DJ and go in there and say all these outrageous things.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, my.
So I really knew that it was going to be a tough road to hoe at that point because some people don't want change. That's what it came down to. They just did not want to hear something that they just didn't want to hear anything. They did not want change, but that's always an element.
So, Mike, if people want more information, is there a website that they can go check out?
Yeah, mobilebeat.com, mobilebeatlasvegas.com, and just search for Mobile Beat or the Mobile Beat Show on Facebook, and you'll be linked to those places.
Now, Mike, as we get closer to the show, sometimes the show passes, the prices go up on that. Is there any kind of deadlines coming up here soon with the show pass pricing?
Yeah, the next price increase goes into effect after October 15th, John.
And that's for the they can buy a full show pass. Is there any kind of, for those who just want to hit the exhibit hall, is there any kind of a pass for that?
The exhibit-only passes will be available only at the door. We've changed. That's another change for next year.
And they can find out all that information out on the website.
Correct.
Great. Well, Mike, thank you very much for being on the show tonight. I'm really looking forward to February of 2015 and the Mobile Beat Las Vegas show.
Well, thank you, John. We'll see you there.
Great. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Good night.